When I was 1 to 6, my grandma was the one who kind of replaced the role of being a mother. Since I had a lot of free time, I also had a lot of free will. And a lot of free will gets you either in trouble, gets you drunk, gets you high, and a whole lot of other things that would probably not be good for your body. So this year was when I received Christ, but 3 years ago was when I felt an encounter with God. It's not going to be easy, for sure. It's not going to be easy. I forgot that back then. So don't do the same mistake I did.
What's one thing you wish you would have learned earlier about walking with God?
That it wouldn't be easy.
Would you marry a non-Christian lady?
At this point, with what I know.
Welcome back to Pastor JoJo podcast. Today, I'm sitting down with a young man whose story is a reminder that God can take you from anywhere and bring you home where you belong. And I want you to sit and enjoy this conversation. It's going to be a dynamic conversation full of a lot of stories, and you will be blessed. You know what to do. Call your friends, share with others. If you haven't subscribed, feel free to do that. Let's welcome Jan.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jan. Pleasure to be here.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Tell us who you are, where you come from, where you grew up from, and everything that can help people to know who you are.
Yeah. So a little bit of a background for myself. I grew up in Philippines. Around 1 year old, my mom moved from Philippines to Canada. And then up until I was the age of 6, I was with my dad and everyone else in his family. So we were kind of just waiting for my mom to sponsor us, but obviously it was a big wait. And for a kid, it seemed like a long time. I don't remember much of seeing my mom too much as a kid, especially at 1 year old. Yeah. So coming back and then realizing, oh, I have a mom is a lot for me to take in. So from when I was 1 to 6, my grandma was the one who kind of replaced the role of being a mother. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the things that I learned of being nature from a mom was from her. Yeah. And then over time that kind of developed when I got here, but it was kind of weird for me because I didn't know much about my mom at that time. Yeah. So it was just kind of like, okay, I'm getting to know you. You're not just any auntie. You're actually my mom. So it was a lot of learning a lot of that. We moved out here in December of 2007 or 8. Mm-hmm. And growing up, it was a lot of just rewiring, I would say. Rewiring from the people around me, rewiring from different environments, different people, different schooling, different systems, a lot of different things. So the transition from going from a Filipino household and suddenly moving into a place that as a kid, I don't know, a lot for a kid to kind of take. Yeah. So that at that point, it was already a lot of changes. So from the age of 6 all the way up until right now, a lot of changes and a lot of getting used to. Growing up, I also learned a lot from, I guess, the struggle without growing up without a mom at an early age, because a lot of it was seeking for validation from not just like, my parents, but also from everyone. And coming from a place where, the less fortunate is kind of like, okay, like we gotta make it through. And then suddenly going to a place where it seems okay, but then still kind of experiencing the same struggle. From there, obviously growing up alone, I had a lot of free time, I would say. So that free time kind of transitioned into, okay, what can I do with these hands of mine? And I was already kind of a artsy guy. So I got into art. First art I ever did was drawing. So I love drawing. Love drawing anime, love drawing, I guess, like realism, like shades and different things. That kind of transitioned into music throughout high school. And in high school, that's when I learned how to make poetry, learned how to beatbox, learned how to, I was in choir in grade 8 to 11. Yeah. And then also after that, after high school, stopped for a little bit, but then I also got reintroduced into music 3 years ago. So within that 3 years, it's kind of just, okay, I'm picking up all these old habits that I had from a lot of free time. Yeah. And now I'm just compiling it together. So that kind of transitioned into, where am I looking for validation for again? Because obviously I want to make use of like the things that I'm able to do. So with music, it can hit a lot of people. It can be used to motivate or not motivate, or to just express feelings.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I think that's one thing I can tell my younger self: keep going, because I know you want to express your feelings. You just don't have people to express it to just yet.
Yeah.
So 4 or 5 years ago, my parents were actually trying to get me little siblings, little people to take care of. And I think throughout that time was when I learned a lot of, I guess, home economic skills. So obviously learning how to cook, learning how to do laundry, clean, all of that stuff. And it made it worse because at that time was when my mom had to go back to the Philippines. And that's kind of a period where everything kind of needed to unfold.
Yeah.
So that's the pre-Christ me, I would say. Pre-meeting Christ me.
You started creating music, doing arts, doing all these things to compensate this loneliness or this void you were feeling within you. But also you mentioned that it was your life pre-meeting Jesus Christ. Can you take us a little bit? I'm interested in knowing your life before you met Christ. What was your life like?
Oh, life was kind of just all over the place. All over the place in the sense of there was no direction. So with a lot of the free time that I had, it was transitioning into, I don't know what I'll be doing in the future. And I'm kind of not worried about it right now. My parents were kind of like easy on me in terms of like, you're free to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Right. So, but obviously that comes with the other half of, okay, I don't know what structured life that I would want to live right now. Since I had a lot of free time, I also had a lot of free will.
Yeah.
And a lot of free will gets you either in trouble, gets you drunk, gets you high, and a whole lot of other things that would probably not be good for your body.
So did it do that to you?
I would say so. And that goal of
say so.
I would say so.
Okay,
yes, I would say so.
More. We want to hear more of that.
Yeah, no, that lifestyle, it wasn't for me. And I feel like with the sense of trying to get validation from a certain group of people, that's also the reason why I kind of went into that lifestyle in the first place.
Yeah.
And ultimately, when I did feel alone, or when I did feel like, oh, like empty, and I came back to those things that I was doing, so drinking, smoking, and all that stuff, it just not satisfied, right?
Yeah.
It felt like, why am I even doing this anymore? Like, it's not, I know it's not good for me. I've known that. I think I know better to know that, okay, this is probably going to damage my lungs. This is probably going to damage my liver, but I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
And I think looking for the approval of continuing to do it it went from, okay, let's do it every once in a while, to let's do it at your house at this time. We're going to watch a movie. And that became every other week to every week to every other day to honestly every day. And with a lot of free time, especially with the things that I was trying to catch up on in terms of structure, that idea of having a structured, okay life in the future seemed so far away.
Yeah.
Like I'm just going to give that up already. The moment that I was in that hole, it just became a loophole of just condemning myself, feeling guilty all the time, feeling sad, feeling lonely. And it just kept going in circles and circles and circles.
So I have a question, but before I ask you that question, I want us to talk to the parents who right now are probably sitting home. They don't know where their sons or daughters are. Because you said if I understood well, you had friends and you had plans. We'll go to this house, we'll watch movie, we'll party, we'll smoke, we'll drink, we'll do all these things.
Yeah.
And I would think that probably sometimes your parents didn't know what you're doing. They might know where you are, but they don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I don't know about your parents if they had probably a conversation after you come back home. Did they ask you, where were you? What did you do? Yeah. If yes or if no, I want you to come back to talk to the parents who are sitting home, who are working every day or sometimes work overtime, and they don't know where the young kids are and what they're doing, and they probably don't even ask them.
You probably don't know what your kid is doing at all. You probably come back home preparing dinner. You expect them to be in bed at a certain time, to stop going on TikTok every single time, to be up for school. There's certain levels of expectations, but then after those expectations are met, everything else is kind of just do whatever you want, you know?
Yeah.
So in a sense of, I guess for my like lifestyle, I was really good at hiding it. No one in my family, not my mom, not my dad, knew I ever smoked weed, ever drank, ever started vaping. And what made it worse was when my mom found out that I started vaping, I kind of just normalized it. She found it in one of my jackets.
Yeah.
She was like, "What is this?" I was like, "Yeah, it's a vape." And then I just went back to eating. So a lot of the things that I knew were bad for me, I found a way to just normalize it. Either find a way to excuse someone else or blame someone else. For example, like my parents, they smoke. So I'm like, oh, if you guys smoke, I'll smoke right now.
Yeah.
You know, like since you guys are doing it, I'll do it too. Right. And it came from that mentality of like, since they're doing it, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know, that mentality of, okay, since I don't have as much strict parents, I'll utilize it for now. Right.
Yeah.
And since I had a lot of free time, there was nothing else for me to do. I don't know what else to do. And that was that point where I forgot I had hands that I was really passionate about. I had like drawing stuff that I wanted to take a step further. And from drawing, my dad's side, they're very engineer architecture side. So I actually wanted to be in their position as well in terms of architecture. And that was actually one of my first few courses that I wanted to take. Obviously, I threw that away when I got into the things that I was doing.
Yeah.
But I think looking back at it now, though, it was supposed to happen. Not in a way where it's like I should have stopped it a long time ago or like stopped it sooner, right? I think I learned all the lessons I needed to learn with everything that I've gone through. So in that time period.
Would you say that smoking, whether it's marijuana, drinking, partying, all these things that we do to satisfy ourselves or to feel like we're part of a group, we're accepted, would you say that they can distract you from your destiny or the vision that you had? Like you said, you were good in arts and music and other stuff, but when you started doing that, you stopped.
Oh, 100%. I think with the usage of that, since time feels like it's going so fast in reality, which it is, right? I think the usage of that allows you to think and rewire your brain into thinking, no, it's okay. You have time.
Yeah.
Right? You have so much time. Up until I, checked the calendar and I realized it's already been like 3 years since I've said the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Right. So it definitely does have an effect in terms of like distraction. Another thing it also brings up is also a lot of anxiety. Obviously, it went from, okay, I'll do it just once in a while to, okay, it became practice, and then it became every other day, every day. So over time, those, I guess, skills that you learned from doing those leaked into other things that I love doing.
Yeah.
So that being, let's say for work, I was hired at Share Tea, a bubble tea shop back then. And this also leaked into the performance of how I was doing there, right? So I noticed I'm moving a lot slower. I feel like I should be striving for more, right? I think like I want to learn more about this, because this job has a lot to offer, even if it's small.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to learn like everything that I can before going to the next job, right? And a lot of that mentality went away when, obviously it became normal, and that desire for passion to want more in terms of like what I can do with these hands slowly faded away.
Yeah.
Right. And those are the effects that it kind of does. right? It takes you away from the target. Like your goal is right here, or you're just gonna go all over the place. Yeah.
Okay. I've seen a few people, and I've had stories of so many people, artists, producers, who say that they function well and they do great after they have smoked. They'll perform well to the audience if they're singers after they have smoked or taken some alcohol.
Yeah.
And I know in Canada, smoking marijuana is legal, but in many countries it's illegal. And still people find a way to get it, even where it's illegal, so they can
Like
feel well and perform better.
Yeah.
So what would you say to those people who think or who say that they perform better after smoking or doing all those other things?
It's funny you bring that, because that's something that I actually experienced as well. Until I realized it only sounds good once you're doing it. And the moment that you step back into it, step back into the project, you don't really know what you're working with after that, right? So the thing that I mentioned about like how it kind of slows down time, I think that's the illusion that it gives when you use it. So whether it be like the slowness that you feel, it adds on to the feeling for sure, because obviously it's affecting every other senses, right? So obviously the sound that you're hearing is going to sound a little bit better. That's why clubs, music, and also dancing, and also just alcohol put together, let's say in a club, that's why everything feels better. All of the senses are heightened. But the moment that you go back to normal and let's say sober for a day, all of those effects gone, right? So I would say to the people struggling with, continuing to use that as like, not an excuse, but an additive to your work life with music.
Yeah.
Try a solid 3 days. And then after that, a solid 7 days, a solid 2 weeks. Take it slow, because it's not going to be easy, but nothing is supposed to be easy.
Yeah.
Right. So the moment that you start something, stopping it is also just as hard, if not worse. Right. Because those heightened senses are going to be like, I want to feel that again. It always wants to feel that way, even for the heart. Like the heart, we neglect. And honestly, like when it comes to smoking, drinking, those are the things that can affect the heart as well. Right. So the moment that the heart is like, where's the top level you?
Yeah.
Right. Like, I want to feel this again. Right. Or at least for the mind as well. It's like, I want to be here.
Yeah.
But since you're here, I'm going to make you feel bad about yourself and make you try to use it again. Right.
Yeah.
So that's the cycle.
It's funny. You say when you stop doing it, the next day, those effects are gone. And when you said it, I understood it in a musical way. So I started thinking about people who do production of music songs with autotunes. When you go to their live performance, it sounds way, way different. Sometimes you're like, is it the same singer? So without the autotunes, there's no nice vocal or nice music coming out. So probably that's what's happening. You depend on that, then you forget to use what is inside you, that what you could practice and probably improve on. So let's go back to now. You realize that your life is going really, really bad. When did you realize now, in the middle of all of these, that you are going in the wrong way, you're suffering, and what led you to come to Christ?
Biggest thing I would say is the feeling of being behind, right? So the feeling of being behind compounds into, I want to compare with everyone else, how they're doing with their life, right? I want to compare to that person who's doing really well in school, right? I want to compare to that person who's doing really well in their job. Right? They probably have a higher position than me. I want to compare myself to, let's say, even my cousins or my really close friends that have really nice jobs or really nice cars, right? So when it came into the compounding of those different thoughts, it compounded it into something even worse, right? And the feeling of I'm not good enough was the one thing that I always found out I was thinking. So the moment that I found out, man, I'm not good enough, that's when it took a really bad toll. So that's when I actually got into more of that. So more of the drinking, more of the smoking, more of that, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what led me, kept me going. I'm not enough. So like I won't even bother to try. Up until one of the people that I grew up with throughout high school, they invited me to church. And just a bit of like church history in terms of like me and my family.
Yeah.
It was never a consistent going to church. My dad's Catholic, or my dad's side of the family is Catholic. I don't really know if he's following his faith, but my mom was ex-Catholic but transitioned back to Christianity. So, but I didn't know that until this year. So I didn't know my mom was Christian all this time. And I think with I'll go once in a while, every 2 months, every 3 months. That went into every other year. And then we'd go with cousins or if there was a special event. So when I got introduced to church for the first time outside of my family, that's when I was like, okay, let's give it a try. Maybe I can find something here. Because I know I'm not good enough to do any of everything else that like everyone is going through.
Yeah.
I might as well just try something new. This is new for me. I'll get, I don't even know where to start. I'll just come, That was the mentality that I had transitioning out of the cycle of drinking and smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you started going to church with the invitation of your friend, what happened? How did you, what is there any moment that you remember that you had an encounter with the Lord?
Yes. So this is 3 years ago, I think September-ish. And at this time, their church was actually in a movie theater. So they had praise and worship going on. They had a little testimony as well. And I think after hearing that testimony, that's truly when my heart softened a little bit. And then after that, obviously another worship song. And I remembered, I was like, why don't I just sing? Everyone else is, right? I'm looking to my right, I'm looking to my left. All the titas and titos, all the families, people that weren't of the culture, because it was mostly Filipino.
Yeah.
They were also singing, right? Even if they didn't understand the words as well. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I came here out of my own accord. Why don't I just like loosen up? I feel like back then when I went to church, it was a lot of protection. I feel like there was a lot of things that I wanted to hide for sure, especially with the past that I was living. And even at that point, like I was still kind of back and forth with my faith and then also the struggle. Because one of the testimonies that they had was like the moment that you come to Christ, that's not the end of, the things that you're going to do right away. So it was a slow transition over and over. And then if I fail, it's fine. Like I'm going to just keep going. Right. It was a lot harder back then because I didn't really understand what the word was, who Jesus was. I kind of just knew how to go to church at that point. Right? So I would say the transition into learning more about Jesus was actually this year, the beginning of this year. And everything within that 3-year period was just, I'm going to try to go to church, but also live like how I lived because it's comfortable. So this year was when I received Christ like officially, but 3 years ago was when I felt an encounter with God.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I would say. Yeah.
Okay. That's amazing.
Yeah. And then after that 3rd year or the 3 years ago, that encounter, it was kind of just like here and there. I would feel his presence here and there, right? I don't know what this presence is because obviously I haven't read more about him to know anything. And at that time, it was also trying to figure out, 1, to drop the things that I was doing. And then 2, it was also, okay, I need to plan ahead now. I've said all this time, like, I'm going to plan for the future. I'm like, at this time, I was really trying to think of what options do I have. And then 3, it was also, okay, what can I do? Not just for me, but also for my family, right? At this time, So 3 years ago, when I did come to Christ, it was at a point in my life where everything was falling apart. So that encounter with God was a lot to me.
Yeah.
Right. And it wasn't just like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say like, oh, it wasn't. No, that was an encounter with God. Right. 1, family was having issues. Right. 2, financially. So 3 years ago, like my mom would go to the Philippines and then I would have to help support her pretty much with money. 3, obviously the relationship between mom and dad wasn't that good.
Yeah.
And then 4, friends dropping left and right. I don't know where they went. And then 5 was also relationships. And since I was going through the cycle of, okay, I'm gonna, do my thing, it also led into, I'm gonna try to validate all these feelings that I'm feeling with all these things inside me into other people, into girls. And then that's ultimately when I got into the dating apps, right? I didn't mention that, but yeah, so I got into dating apps and that was a whole cycle of, okay, I'm going to seek for validation somewhere else.
Yeah.
If it's not in alcohol, weed, money, it might be in someone, right? Because obviously looking for validation my whole life, it was nothing new. I was looking for validation from friends, from family. Let's try to look for validation from someone, So that's what it led into.
I'm really, really sorry to hear about all those struggles, your family, your life, your work, and other things you went through. But I would like to come back to this. Now that you have received Christ and it's been a year of a new life that you're living, what has changed in your life?
Even if it's just a year, a lot has changed. One thing for sure, something that we can't see is perspective. So perspective in the things that I'm doing, the things that I'm thinking, the things that I'm feeling, total rewiring of everything that I used to feel back then. Back then, I would feel very ashamed, scared, guilty, angry, jealous all the time. This was a constant day-to-day feeling. Right. And at some point, the one thing that I realized is that's too tiring. Like I want to let go of that. And obviously it's still like, something I'm trying to work on and something that I'm allowing God to truly like get a hold of. But in terms of things that we can see, I would say the people around me and the families that I've seen and experienced the change in their lives as well. Because obviously me coming to Christ meant that my whole household was. And I know like that's not what they're thinking right now, but I could definitely see a change in how they're speaking and what they're doing and what they're feeling and what they're expressing. Because obviously those are things that you can see, the expression of things that, you feel.
I would like to encourage you by telling you that Christ has an answer to your problems, an answer to your struggles. When you give him a chance and you open the door of your life, he will come in, dine with you, take away your burden, and he will give you peace and courage. The same Jesus, the same God that did it for John. We've been hearing his story. Is the same God that will deal with your situation. Now, coming back, it's my first time to do this in this show, but I want to ask a few questions. This is Heart check. So, short answers, yes or no. Okay. You can give a little explanation if you want to. You can also choose from multiple choice.
Okay, sounds good. Multiple choice.
All right. What's harder right now for you? Prayer, obedience, or avoiding old habits?
I would say avoiding old habits.
All right.
Yeah.
What's one thing you wish you would have learned earlier about walking with God?
That it wouldn't be easy.
Would you marry a non-Christian lady?
At this point, with what I know, I'm sorry, no.
Say that loud. They didn't hear you.
I wouldn't, I'm sorry.
All right. If you could tell to your younger self one sentence, what would it be?
Ooh. keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going.
That check is done.
Yeah.
What would you say to young people who are still stuck in the same lifestyle that you were stuck in a few years ago?
It's okay. Don't feel condemned for doing anything that you've done. It's not your fault. It's not your fault that you're struggling with whatever it is you're struggling with. It's not. It's not going to be easy, for sure. It's not going to be easy. And 3, you always have someone to look up to. I forgot that back then. So don't do the same mistake I did, forgetting that you have not just God to talk to, not just Jesus to talk to, but you have everyone around you. You have a community of lovely people that have, probably experienced the same thing. And they have guidance that you probably wouldn't have heard of in the past. But most important, I would say, is keep seeking for God. Keep seeking for God. Because you wouldn't be able to see the beauty in everything else unless you see it in His perspective.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I want to also ask you this question because in August, if not July, I remember I invited you to share testimony.
Yeah.
And we went to a park, Langley Event Center.
Yeah.
It was a very open space at a park, and you were sharing your testimony. And at the end of your testimony, one young man who was invited by your friend gave his life to Christ. What did that experience mean to you? And if I remembering what you said earlier, it was a testimony that softened your heart. Now,
That's
looking
correct.
back, what has touched you through someone's story, their encounter with the Lord, when you see that young man who received Christ through now your testimony, what does it mean to you?
I don't want to take that credit. The credit is not for me to take at all. But the feeling of serenity is what I would say. Because seeing someone that probably went through the same confusion, same rabbit hole, was probably going through the same thing. And to see their eyes light up of realizing like, whoa, that burden isn't there anymore. Gratitude, I would say. Gratitude in a sense of like, I don't think I deserve this peace, but I have it now. Gratitude in experiencing things in a different viewpoint, even though I don't deserve it, but I have it now. Experiencing love, and to see him experience that the same way that I did back then, and when I experienced that this year when I got baptized, was not a feeling I would ever forget, really. And I think that's a feeling that I would love to see everyone around me and everyone around you and everyone watching, right?
Yeah.
That feeling of just, you don't need anything else, right? You don't need anything else, right? Everything else will leave you in the same pit that I went through, right? The same pit of no satisfaction, no gratitude, always chaos, always jealous, always angry, all of that, right? So it was just feeling grateful.
Thank you for taking time to be with us today. I would really, really like to appreciate you for making time and having this conversation. Thank you for opening up and share your life story with us. And I would say, God bless you. If there is any other message that you'd love to give to those who are watching right now, feel free to give that message.
Stay tuned for more videos and more podcasts and more quality and more God, more Jesus.
Amen.
Right? It's all coming soon.
Thank you for watching today. It was John with me, and I encourage you again, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do it. Share this story with somebody else so they can be touched, be healed, and be encouraged. If you want to reach out to us, you would like to share your story, feel free free to write in the comments or email me on the email that is right there, pastorjojoinfo@gmail.com. Reach out to us, and if you have any prayer request that you would love us to pray with you, go ahead and share it. We would love to pray with you. May God bless you, and see you next time.